To be honest with you guys, and I'm just going to lay this out, so I really don't want to talk about the situation anymore. So the earliest he's going to be available is Pittsburgh. That's going to be the earliest. And just from everything we gathered over the last couple of days, now can it change? Sure, I'm always going to leave that door open. You guys know me; I'm the eternal optimist. But we are going to make sure that both mind and body are 110%. Make sure we do right by him, and we feel like talking to the doctors and everyone, it's going to be that Pittsburgh week. To be honest with you.
You know, I'm not one of the individuals that thought Zach Wilson was going to be starting the game on Sunday. Understanding the nuances of what a bone bruise entails to heal, and how finicky that can be and unpredictable, I didn't think it made sense, right? That we would risk sending Zach out there week one with literally 3.5, right on that 3 to 3.5 week mark in terms of healing time from when he had the surgery. So I didn't believe that was the case. But it was so exciting to think there was a possibility that Zach Wilson would be playing on week one. Where my frustration lies is that believing in our coach that Zach Wilson had a chance this week led all of us to believe, content creators, fans, everybody, media outlets, that there was a chance Zach Wilson would definitively be back next week two. Not week one, but week two, our franchise quarterback would be playing against Cleveland. And I think that was more of a realistic expectation with the news that he had progressed so beautifully and so well this offseason or since the surgery. But now you tell us he's not going to be here until week four, potentially, maybe, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So what happened? What happened? I know he didn't want to talk about it, you know what I'm saying? And he stated this is it. We're gonna wait till week four, blah, 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 blah. Got it. But in all actuality, the majority wouldn't make a big deal about this had okay. All right. So in the military, right, we have these things called 72s and 96s. So pretty much it's a long weekend, right? Usually given out whenever there's a holiday coming or something like that. It's usually already dictated by the DoD. Department of Defense dictates what those days are, and commanders, i.e., what I'm saying, individual commanding officers, can dictate if they're going to give their Marines a 72, which is a 3-day weekend, or a 96, which is a 4-day weekend. Big difference to us in the military world, right? Because we work ridiculous hours, and whenever we get one of those chances to go ahead and be off for a few days to afford it, like it's a treat. So one thing that I've always appreciated about the military is that you got to expect the worst case scenario, and then when the best happens, it's always a win. It's always a win. So case in point, our commanding officer would say, listen, for the 4th of July, we've been authorized the 72. So in our mindsets, we're thinking, boom, 72. Now, that's us as Marines knowing we got to still work, do what we got to do to go ahead and get that 72. Because if we don't accomplish specific missions and goals or whatever, it can turn to just July 4th being off, right? Like we don't get the full freaking 3 days. But the commanding officer and his headquarters component, those guys already know that, listen, there's a chance we can give these guys, our Marines, a 96. We don't tell the Marines that. We tell the leadership, listen, if we're able to achieve this, this, and this, we can get a 96, right? If we can't achieve this, this, and this, it's still a 72. Great. So we already know we're getting a 72 as long as we do our job. We do our job, we get a 72. If we don't do our job, we know that's in jeopardy. So we bust our butts, we work hard, we go ahead and do what we got to do to at least, at the very bare minimum, do our job. Now, it's a couple days before we're leaving. We're getting our safety brief. The safety brief is pretty much when the commanding officer says, hey, Marines, I'm going to give you some time off. You're going to be away from the base, away from your command. Don't do anything stupid. But now, since y'all did so great, blah, 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 you're going to get a 96. That 3-day weekend turned to a 4-day weekend. All right. Now, let's say that we didn't do enough, or we did just enough, the bare minimum, whatever the case might be, for us to get a 72. hey, Marines, here's your safety brief. You know what? You guys accomplished the mission. We were able to achieve this, this, and this. Really wanted y'all to do a little bit more, but at the end of the day, you did this, this, and this. So your 72 is granted, right? Here's your safety brief. Don't do anything stupid. See you guys in 3 days. The delivery is so key in a moment like this because had the commanding officer told us had we done our jobs, we would get a 96. And then a day or two beforehand, he's like, you know what? You guys didn't do quite enough to go ahead and actually earn the 96. Y'all did the bare minimum, but y'all didn't do quite enough. So now it's a 72. It's still time off. It is still time that we're going to get off. But we're pissed. We're annoyed. We're mad because, man, I really want to do this 96. I thought, now I could actually go home to Florida by staying close to base because you can only travel so much during specific time frames you have off. It's a whole other thing. But the delivery is so important. And I think this is what frustrates me about this whole announcement today, that Zach Wilson won't be available until week 4 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's not that we as Jets fans don't want Zach Wilson to be 100% healthy to go out before he goes out there. We want that. It's the delivery. When we all saw Zach Wilson get hurt, everybody that was watching that game, that is a Jets fan, Jets spectator, if you must, or whatever, right? We all held our breaths thinking, wow, there goes the season. Another year where we don't get to evaluate Zach Wilson and really know who he is. We already thought the worst case scenario. So, to us, we're already looking at, okay, Joe Flacco, Jimmy Garoppolo, what are going to be the options? When we came back, that it wasn't as bad as we thought, there were thought processes that it was a 1 to 2 month recovery time frame. Again, from torn ACL to out for the season to 1 to 2 months, we were all happy about that. Nobody was complaining. Then they told us it could be 2 to 3 weeks. Oh, whoa, wait a minute. 2 to 3 weeks? That's crazy. It sounded like it was going to be 1 to 2 months. But okay, this is great news. 2 to 3 weeks, we can potentially see Zach Wilson back. But to earn a side of caution, we're all going to aim for that back end, right? 3 to 4 weeks most likely is going to be the case. We were prepared for either or to happen. So now, this week, after we all knew or assumed Zach Wilson wasn't going to start, we were prepared for that. It was placed in our minds that maybe he was further along in his recovery than originally anticipated or thought possible. Then yesterday, it was reiterated, oh man, he's doing pretty well. He's throwing the ball around. He's looking good. Boom. He's definitively has a shot at playing on Sunday. Today, we find out not only is he not playing on Sunday, he's not playing in week 2. Oh, he's not playing in week 3. And there's a chance he'll be back for week 4. You see the difference? You see how the delivery shifted so much so that it agitated us, the fan base. Now, some are going to say that, well, maybe it was Coach Saleh potentially playing mind games with the Baltimore Ravens. Okay, I could see that. I can understand it being a strategic play. I can appreciate that. And actually, one of my good friends pretty much said it like, do they really care what we think as fans in terms of how he delivers the news? 100% got you. But the problem is this. He did something very similar last year with Mekhi Becton. You could have told us when it happened that it was a season-ending injury because you know what? The majority of us thought it was a season-ending injury. But that wasn't the case. They made it seem like he had a shot at being back. And so, of course, boom, the whole year we hung on to the fact that Mekhi Becton would be back. He did it again with Zach Wilson. Even if it's a mind game, even if it's to go ahead and throw the Baltimore Ravens off, how does this impact the Cleveland Browns game? How does this impact all the way to the Steelers game? It doesn't impact weeks 2 to 3. So for us as fans, we're the ones that are really being impacted by it because we're holding on to the fact that, man, our coach is telling us our QB is good to go. We get to start seeing Zach Wilson and get the evaluation process ongoing a lot sooner. That's exciting. But in all actuality, it wasn't the case. It wasn't the case. And I think that's where a lot of frustration right now is currently stemming from. It's not that we don't want Zach Wilson to be 100% healthy. It's that the way it was presented to us, it's making us question what is going on when it comes to documenting injuries or reporting injuries at One Jets Drive. It's not the first time this has happened with Coach Saleh, and I think that's where a lot of it is concerning. Even with the recent Mekhi Becton injury, where they're like, oh man, he's fine. He was able to walk it off. Boom, out for the season. Out for the season, right? there's some real concern there. And I guess my advice to the staff, to One Jets Drive headquarters or leadership, give the worst case scenario always. Always give the worst case scenario. I do that in my life all the time. You know what? Somebody needs this done at this particular time. I'm gonna tell you it's gonna take me a week to do it. Even though I know technically I could do it in 2 or 3 days, I'm gonna tell you a week. Because no matter what, if I'm able to do it in 3 days, 4 days, 5, even 6 days, it's a positive because I did it before the deadline I had given. And the same token, from now on, look, listen, I would appreciate it, Jets, if you would just tell us it's gonna be 6 months. 5 months, 3 months, whatever the case might be. Because if we already get that into the brain housing group that it's going to be that much further out, and then you shock us and surprise us because it was only a month, it's a win. It's a win. We're gonna give you props because now we're thinking, man, the coaching staff did a great job. The medical staff was able to help them speed things along. Like it's all positive because you were able to beat the deadline originally outlined. It's only positive. You do this stuff in every aspect of your life. This is free advice to everyone, not just to Jets, but everyone. Everyone in your life. You always give the worst case scenario. Because no matter what happens, no matter what happens, if you're able to do whatever you say you're going to do in a shorter amount of time, or you accomplish something in a shorter amount of time, you look great. You look like you're the go-getter, highly motivated, highly dedicated. You're pushing the limits. You're going above and beyond to go ahead and make things happen. It's a win for you always. Give yourself the buffer. That's why I'm frustrated about this news. It's not that Zach Wilson isn't starting on Sunday. I didn't think he was going to start on Sunday anyway. Was I hopeful when I heard the last 2 days there was a chance? Heck yeah. I would love to see Zach Wilson play. Like I said before, have not seen him play live. But to tell us that he was going to potentially play, he was on track to be the starter, and then tell us, oh, just kidding. It's actually about 3 weeks to 4 weeks out. Like that's when you get these kind of conversations and frustrations with the fan base. Like the media now is making a mockery of it. Like, man, what's going on over there? They said this, but it's really this. Like you're giving the haters way more fuel than we need to be giving them. We already have a ton of them. We're giving them more, right? And I think that's where like